You know that feeling when you walk into a room and you just know that you're the last person anyone thought to invite? Well, that was my life story all the way from when I was younger, and even now, honestly. I'd be scrolling through messages and seeing photos from the party I wasn't invited to, and my chest would tighten. I would think, why am I always the backup, the extra, the one nobody notices? I've spent my whole life feeling like option D. Not option A, not option B, not option C even, just D. And it wasn't just with friends. It was school projects, career opportunities, auditions, teams. Everywhere I looked, it felt like I was always a step behind, always waiting almost, right? I want to talk about that today. The feeling of being alone, being invisible, and how I finally started navigating it, or rather, tried to navigate it, because this is not something that you can fix within a second, or within a day, or a week, or a month, or even a year. It takes a long time, and this is just what this episode is about. So, if you find yourself in this position, or you know someone who's in this position, be sure to tune in and listen in. This is the Creative Hustle with Anika Goyal, and let's begin. So, when I was little, I tried very, very hard to belong. I memorized the way other kids laughed. I memorized the way people told the jokes, their life stories, their names, the games we played, and I tried to be quote unquote enough just to fit in. I remembered the birthdays I wasn't invited to. The group project was picked last, or not even at all. I would sit in the corner and wonder to myself, why is this happening to me? And I would just leave it at that and continue working by myself, or work with the people I was being quote unquote forced to work with because these people did not want this presence with them. Obviously, when I was younger, I did feel like sort of maybe this is my fault. Maybe if I was kind and helpful and funny, it would help with the process of making friends. But those things did not matter. In fact, those things were the last things on these people's minds. I was the one people tolerated but didn't prioritize. And that feeling stung. It stung a lot. I can still remember the ache of realizing that I could try my hardest, but some people weren't going to see me. Some people weren't going to choose me first, and I started to internalize that. I told myself, maybe I wasn't likable enough. Maybe there was something wrong with me, but deep down, I knew I was trying. I knew I was good, I just wasn't anyone's first choice. And that's something I want to let sink in for a minute, is the feeling of not being someone's first choice, whether it be in a friendship or a relationship or in an opportunity. It sort of makes you feel that every single thing that you do is not good enough. When in reality, whether you try or not, that factor is just going to remain the same. That factor is going to remain the same regardless of what you do. And sooner we realize that, sooner we can work on ourselves. But the other thing you want to note is we aren't self improvement projects. We aren't someone that needs constant fix. Yes, we can improve for ourselves, but improving ourselves for others or trying to change aspects of ourselves to fit into this mold that people are creating for us is just not constructive enough because constantly there's going to be sort of this involvement in the industry. There's going to be involvement in what people want from you. And you may change, you can keep changing rapidly, but it's just not going to help you in the long run because people's priorities change, people's needs from you change, their wants from you change, and you just can't keep up with all of that movement. That movement truly does decide how you live your life and how you choose to prioritize whether you want to focus on your well being, other people's well beings, or even just the outside expectations that are made on you. And that's just an important factor to kind of process when thinking about do you want to change for this person or do you want to stick with being kind of alone but not alone. Because another thing to note is that you don't have to be alone to be lonely. You could literally be in a room full of people, people you know, people you don't know, all of that, and still feel lonely, still feel like you're not mattering. People around you still feel like you are sort of suffocated in this room full of people you know, but also don't know. The point where sort of feels like if you left the room, no one would notice. If you were in the room, no one would notice, and sort of create this negative loop of thinking where you don't feel like you matter at all. And that's just a very negative feeling to have. For me personally, when I fast forward a couple of years, I find myself in this creative world, right? Theater, songwriting, podcasting, writing. Spaces that I thought would be full of people who understand me. But guess what? As I mentioned earlier, being surrounded by people doesn't make that loneliness feeling disappear. Because I personally was still the one sitting on the edge, still the one who wondered if anyone really wanted me there. The pressure to perform, to be funny, to be talented enough is exhausting. But what's more exhausting than the pressure to perform and be funny and be talented is the fear of rejection, the feeling of rejection, even. Because that cuts deeper than expected. Because it wasn't just about a missed opportunity or missed role or about, you know, proving yourself to yourself. It was about proving to everyone that you mattered. I felt like an extra in everyone else's life, sometimes even in my own. I would look at my achievements, my podcast, my music, my writing, and think, does any of this matter if no one sees it? And that's where this podcast comes in because this podcast truly helped me evolve into this person who is understanding of the people around me, understands what it represents, and understands what it means to the people around me and to myself, but mainly myself. That's what the whole message here is about. It's about treating your struggles and treating your failures as success. It's treating them as if they're the best thing that happened to you so that you can grow and evolve. You are allowed that rest time, though you're allowed that downtime to think for yourself and process your feelings. You don't have to like immediately be like, oh, I'm sad. I need to fix this immediately. You can be sad for as long as you need. You can be as happy as you want. You can be as angry as you want or whatever the situation is. You need to process that and understand. Because for me personally, again, all these feelings that I went through from youngish to even now, it has hurt. I cried. I got mad. I screamed at the pillow a lot, actually. And these things really do help you process everything that you're going through. It does help you manage your emotions and helps you know that once again, you're not a self improvement project. You're allowed to have emotions because number one, you're not AI. And number two, you are a human being that deserves a space to grow and understand your own feelings. And if people around you are not willing to see that, maybe these people are not the one to be around. I had this one friend tell me about how the people you surround yourself with are the people you are the people that you resonate with, and are the people that represent who you are actually as a person. And though I agree with that, for the most part, it's really about how you spend time with yourself. Nights alone, listening to music, journaling, painting, doing something for yourself, or rather think of the times that I tried my best, still felt invisible, those times that you get your processing methods out. By spending time with yourself and maybe think about the ways people didn't treat you well, or how you did your best, but people are not giving you the respect you deserve, showcases the impact that you have on yourself because all these feelings are coming from the fact that, oh, this person thinks that and this person thinks this. The truth is, no one really is thinking about you as much as you think they are. And I too thought that maybe I didn't deserve to be treated this way. And yet I was here trying anyway. I was trying to meet people's expectations. Again, it's a very weird, twisted feeling being proud of yourself and simultaneously doubting your worth. Because there were definitely times where I was like, wow, this podcast is amazing. I can't believe I'm doing this. And there are times where, oh my God, why am I doing a podcast? Like, who's even listening? But then obviously, when I start seeing the impact of having on people and start seeing that, yes, people are listening, not just from where I live, but from all over, that part really stuck with me. It made me feel like, wow, okay, this is making an impact. It's really, truly changing someone's life. And even if it isn't, it's still being heard by people around me and truly made me feel like, wow, I'm visible. I'm being seen for something that I do. And this is one thing I want you to know. If you've ever felt invisible, or if you've ever felt like you're not anyone's first choice, you're not alone. Because this is something that a lot of people struggle with. And It's completely common, unfortunately, but there are many ways you can fix this. Or not fix it, rather, like kind of alleviate the stress behind feeling alone. So let me talk about how I navigated. I know we talked a lot about the background story of it all. Um, God, I need to catch a breath. Um, for me, I started small. Journaling was a big part of my life. I poured all my feelings into my podcast, writing songs that no one really heard because it was more for myself. I celebrated a solo wins. That's a big one actually I want to highlight is I celebrated solo wins not because they were solo wins, but because they were mine. Because my worth was not tied to like someone else noticing. And I allowed myself to feel excited and impressed over the things that I was doing. I learned that sometimes being option D just means that you're learning to value yourself and what you bring to the world. And slowly I found spaces where I mattered, where my voice mattered, where my creativity mattered. And even when I felt like the world had overlooked me, I could still choose to show up for myself. Honestly, there are many other methods I use that like talking to other people, engaging with other communities and things. But the biggest one again was hearing myself, hearing what I had for myself to say to, improve myself for me, not again for other people, because then that becomes self-improvement project. And improving myself for me truly did change the way I saw people around me. I did not think, oh, this person hates me, and this person doesn't want to be around because in reality, then I started becoming okay with being alone aspect. Because again, as you grow older, you value the alone time more. You don't feel like wanting to be with other people, and that's great. Of course, I'm not fully cured of this feeling. Some days it some days it does come back, but now I know it doesn't find me. Being the extra doesn't make you less. Being option D doesn't make you unworthy. You're allowed to exist fully even if nobody else prioritizes you. You're allowed to shine even when you feel invisible. So here's my challenge to you. Show up for yourself, celebrate the small wins, write your own story. And even if it feels like you're the only one reading it right now, I may have spent years feeling like an extra, but I'm learning to be the lead in my own story. And maybe it's time you do too. Thank you so much, all, for listening to this episode. I hope you will enjoy it, and I hope my story helps you and inspires you to start a new life and start celebrating everything that you have and don't have and write your own story, like I mentioned earlier. Thank you so much, all, for listening once again. And this is Anika Goyle out. Thank you.